Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central with your daily dose of Doc Ock at noon and 9. That's right, we're black in the house, and that's a fact. We're going to bring you some good news, some good views, something good for you to choose to watch today instead of watching that other stuff you've been watching anyway. Yeah. So, to get this party started right and proper, let's do the first thing first. Number one, if you're watching on Facebook, give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. And then go ahead and spread the word far and wide from coast to coast without a boast. The Doc Ock's in the house with a toast to the right excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey as we continue the celebration of his 134th Be-Earth Day. That's right, his 134th Be-Earth Day. And let's see what kind of words of wisdom he's got to share with us today. What kind of words of wisdom does he have to share with us today? Let us see. Okay, we read this one yesterday. Every man has a right to his own opinion. But today's, and here it is. The greatest weapon used against the Negro is disorganization, period. The greatest weapon used against the Negro is disorganization. Over and done with, over and out. Roger at the ready, rocking it steady. You know what I mean. Being disorganized, that is our biggest fault. It's just pure disorganization. Oh, and let's see what we have here. As a matter of fact, we got a piece that'll fit right within our time frame. So let's do this one here. The Negro's place in world reorganization. The Negro's place in world reorganization, written March 24th, 1923. So again, all of these are blasts from the past, but they're here to last. And we're going to raise them right up to mass, see if anybody salutes. Oh, as we begin our slideshow. Let's go with the slideshow. Whoops, not that way. This way. Yeah, there we go. Now, slideshow. Let's see if we can get this to work. Hopefully it will. All right. Gradually, we are approaching the time when the Negro peoples of the world will have either to consciously, through their own organization, go forward to the point of destiny as laid out by themselves, or must sit quiescently and see themselves pushed back into the mire and the muck of economic serfdom, to be ultimately crushed by the grinding mill of exploitation and be exterminated ultimately by the strong hand of prejudice. There is no doubt about it that we are living in the age of world reorganization, out of which will come a set program for the organized races of mankind that will admit of no sympathy in human affairs, in that we are planning for the great gigantic struggle of the survival of the fittest group. It becomes each and every one engaged in this great race for place and position to use whatsoever influence possible to divert the other fellow's attention from the real object. In our own sphere in America and the Western world, we find that we are being camouflaged, not so much by those with whom we are competing for our economic, political existence, but by men from within our own race, either as agents of the opposition or as unconscious fools who are endeavoring to flatter us into believing that our future should rest with chance and with providence, believing that through these agencies will come the solution of the restless problem. Such leadership is but preparing us for the time that is bound to befall us. If we do not exert ourselves now toward our own creative purpose, the mission of the Universal Negro Improvement Association is to arouse the sleeping consciousnesses of Negroes everywhere, to the point where we will, as one concerted body, act for our own preservation by laying the foundation for such we will be able to work toward the glorious realization of an emancipated race and a constructed nation. Nationhood is the strongest security of any people, and it is for that the Universal Negro Improvement Association strives at this time, with the clamor of other peoples for a similar purpose. We raise a noise even to high heaven for the admission of the Negro into the plan of autonomy. Black Africa. On every side we hear the cry of white supremacy. In America, Canada, Australia, Europe, and even South America, there is no white supremacy beyond the power and the strength of the white man to hold himself against the others. The supremacy of any race is not permanent. It is a thing only at a time in which the race finds itself powerful. The whole world of white men is becoming nervous as touching its own future and that of other races, with the desire of self-preservation, which naturally is the first law of nature. They raise the hue and cry that the white race must be first in government and in control. What must the Negro do in the face of such a universal attitude but to align all his forces in the direction of protecting himself from the threatened disaster of race domination and ultimate extermination? Without a desire to harm anyone, the Universal Negro Improvement Association feels that the Negro should, without compromise or any apology, appeal to the same spirit of racial pride and love as the great white race is doing for its own preservation. So that while others are raising the cry of a white America, a white Canada, a white Australia, we also, without reservation, raise the cry of a black Africa. The critic asks, is this possible? And the 400 million courageous Negroes of the world answer, yes, of course it's possible. Out of this very reconstruction of world affairs will come the glorious opportunity for Africa's freedom. Out of the present chaos and European confusion would come an opportunity for the Negro never enjoyed in any other age, for the expansion of himself and the consolidation of his manhood in the direction of building himself a national power in Africa. The germ of European malice, revenge, and antagonism is so deeply rooted among certain of the contending powers that in a short while we feel sure they will present to Negroes the opportunity for which we are organized. Disablement of Germany, not permanent. No one believes in a permanent disablement of Germany, but all thoughtful minds realize that France is but laying the foundation through revenge for a greater conflict that has as yet been seen. With such another upheaval, there is absolutely no reason why organized Negro opinion could not be felt and directed in the channel of their own independence in Africa. To fight for African redemption does not mean that we must give up our domestic fights for political justice and industrial rights. It does not mean that we must become disloyal to any government or to any country wherein we're born. Each and every race outside of its domestic national loyalty has a loyalty to itself. Therefore, it is foolish for the Negro to talk about not being interested in his own racial, political, social, and industrial destiny. We can be as loyal American citizens or British subjects as the Irishman or the Jew, and yet fight for the redemption of Africa, a complete emancipation of the race. Fighting for the establishment of Palestine does not make the American Jew disloyal. Fighting for the independence of Ireland does not make the Irish American a bad citizen. Why should fighting for the freedom of Africa make the Afro-American disloyal or a bad citizen? Huh? The Universal Negro Improvement Association teaches loyalty to all governments outside of Africa. But when it comes to Africa, we feel that the Negro has absolutely no obligation to anyone but himself. Out of the unsettled state and condition of the world will come such revolutions that would give each and every race that is oppressed the opportunity to march forward. The last World War brought the opportunity to many heretofore subject races to regain their freedom. The next World War will give Africa the opportunity for which we are preparing. We are going to have wars and rumors of wars. In another 20 or 30 years, we will have a changed world politically, and Africa will not be one of the most backward nations, but Africa shall be a continent of many nations. I feel sure one of the greatest commonwealths that will once more hold up the torchlight of civilization and bestow the blessings of freedom, liberty, and democracy upon all mankind. Well, 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 well. And so says Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I dare say, so say we all, that we need to do in this time exactly what Marcus Garvey was calling for then. If you listen carefully, you heard him talk about the First World War and predict the Second World War. He said a greater upheaval was coming, and sure enough, it did. He said a king would be crowned in Africa, and he was. So if he was making such good predictions on those counts, why was his prediction of Africa for the Africans so wrong? And as a matter of fact, didn't that happen too? Isn't Africa today, quote unquote, in the control of Africans? So that makes 3 in a row. He's 3 for 3 predictions. So we need to go back and we need to examine what Marcus Garvey was actually saying. We need to stop looking at Marcus Garvey as a Negro with a hat. Yes, Marcus Garvey loved to wear hats. He even owned had a millinery company. Okay? A hat making company. That's true. However, because you wear a hat does not mean that there's nothing underneath the hat, that there's no mind to find beneath the hat, beneath that skull cap, beneath that crown you wear on your head. So we need to go back. We need to go forward, actually. We need to go forward and continue to examine more deeply the writings, the teachings, the preachings of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Because he had something to teach us then, he has something to teach us now. So we need to reach out. We need to reach out and allow his mind to touch our mind. Or as Spock likes to say on Star Trek, from my mind to your mind. When they do the mind meld, You know what I'm talking about, the mind meld. We need to do a mind meld right about now with the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Time for a mind meld. Yes, it's dangerous because he had some ideas that nobody else wanted us to have in our heads. And that's why they're in a book, because they know the last place the black man will look for a new idea is in a book. So get the book, pick up the book. And if you don't pick up the book, you don't read the book, at least come here and let me read it to you. Let me read you some of the words off the pages so that you may gain some of the knowledge of the ages, and maybe even some of you will become sages like our good brother Runoko Rashidi, who just passed from this mortal coil into the land of the ancestors. He's now up there with Marcus Garvey. So we have another intercessor between ourselves and the Most High God Almighty, Jah Rastafari. Well, that's enough for today from Doc Ock. I've gone over my time just a little bit. So let me say for you right now, as I finish channeling Garvey, the spirit of Garvey, if you're watching us on Facebook, give us a like. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. And then go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel right here on YouTube. If you don't want to miss our upcoming productions, go ahead and subscribe. Because when you subscribe, it will only help you thrive. It costs you nary a wit, nothing at all. It's totally free. And in the meantime, you will see me tonight, because we will be black tonight to continue the story of Blake, or the Huts of America. So look for us here, not in the wind, but right on the internet with a great big grin. We'll see you then. In the meanwhile, peace out without a doubt, with justice, because anything less disgusts us.